views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Welcome, good people of the Bronx and beyond. My name is Henry Ovalles, and I'm your host for A Life in Art. On this show, we will bring you engaging and personal conversations with artists with whom you may not be familiar, people who have been working on their craft for at least a decade and are at a crossroads where passion meets necessity. We'll discuss creativity and inspiration with our guest artists, but also find out what it takes to balance the struggles of practical life while pursuing their passions. Our guest today is an award-winning dancer and choreographer who has appeared on film and television. He has also taught at many renowned institutions, including Alvin Ailey, the Hip Hop Dance Conservatory, Steps on Broadway, and dancing classrooms. He currently serves as a principal dancer and associate artistic director with HDC of New York. Today, we learn about Ray F. Davis's life in art.
Ready? Come on, let's go.
And all that you have is a memory. All to see something come with your luck just may run up. And all that you have is a memory. Shabba 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 da 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 da.
And here we are in the studio with Ray F. Davis. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ray.
Not a problem.
So at the show, we like to start at the beginning, as we say. So let's just jump right into it. Ray, where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Kingston, Jamaica.
Oh, nice.
And I came here when I was about 6.5 years old. And I grew up in Brooklyn for the most part.
Brooklyn, okay.
Yes.
And any siblings, brothers, sisters?
Yes, I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, all older than me.
Oh, really? So you're the youngest?
I'm the baby, yes.
Huh. And so you coming over when you were 6.5 years old from Jamaica, so your brothers and sisters, for the most part, grew up in Jamaica more so than in Brooklyn?
Yes, they
something?
all grew up in Jamaica. I'm the only one who grew up here.
I see. And are your parents still together?
No, my father, he died probably about 12 years ago.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry to hear
And it's okay. And my mom, she still lives in Jamaica, and she is about 74 years old now.
Really? So did she not come over, or did she just go back to Jamaica?
She brought me over here, and then she wanted me to grow up with siblings my own age. So I grew up with cousins, and my aunts and uncles raised me while she stayed in Jamaica.
Oh, really cool. And how often do you go back there?
I try to go back, every 2 years to see her.
Very nice. And so tell me about artistic pursuits. When did art come into your life?
That is a very good question. Once I started to think about it, it's always been there, just not in the form of dance. Because when I was in, elementary school, at that time they made everyone play a recorder.
Right.
And then in junior high school, I played the drums, trumpet, saxophone, baritone, trombone.
Whoa.
And then once I got to high school, I started to sing in the choir. And I got a little opportunity in my senior year to act and sing through doing the West Side Story.
Oh, awesome. Who did you play in that?
I was actually Tony. And once I got to college, I said I wanted to try something new. So I decided to try a dance class with Blade Dance Entertainment, which is now the Hip Hop Dance Conservatory, and that was 15 years ago.
Wow. Time flies, huh?
Yes, time definitely flies.
So really your artistic pursuit started with music. How about your siblings? Is anyone in your family artistically inclined, or your mother?
I want to say yes because of the culture.
Right.
And in Jamaica, we're all about the dancing and the singing and doing anything artistic, but none of them have pursued that. I'm
see.
the only one who has pursued it.
Very well.
Yeah.
So you started with music, playing the recorder, and then moving on. Or do you still keep up with any musical instruments?
I wish. No, I do not.
Okay. And did you ever become, fluent or proficient in any of those instruments, or you just dabbled with them?
I just dabbled.
Okay.
Yes.
And then musical theater, playing the lead role in West Side Story. How did that come about?
I guess now that I look back at it, it was the choir teacher who believed in me more than I believed in myself. Because in choir, you're always, in a position, I was the tenor / baritone. I was always in a position where I was, I guess, accompanying everyone else. And she heard my voice and she felt like I could do some solo work.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was that experience like for you?
It was amazing. It took me definitely out of my comfort zone, but I embraced it. And because she believed in me, I made sure I practiced and I committed to it. And yeah, that's what really started.
I see. And this was when you were starting high school, or when you were?
No, senior year, we
right,
were
you were
forced to take choir in our senior year.
Forced.
Yes,
I see.
because it was a school that was mostly about the arts.
Where did
sorry,
you-
excuse me, not the arts, but about sports.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what school was this?
It was William E. Grady Technical Vocational High School.
Oh, yes. And that's in Brooklyn, yes?
Yes,
I see.
the Coney Island area of Brooklyn.
Uh-huh. So it was a sports technical high school, but then I guess they did have an art program of some sort and forced you to to audition. And
Correct.
but then you're saying that dance didn't happen until afterwards. So how did dance begin?
A friend of mine, we both were in the same choir and we were both in the same church. We were speaking and he said he would like to take dance classes. And I was like, yeah, I would like to take dance classes as well. We're both two very competitive people, so he decided to get the upper hand on me, and he took this particular dance class a month before I did, so he would be better than I would be. And then he told me about it.
After he had already done it.
Correct.
So that you couldn't have the upper hand.
Correct. And so because of that, I started to dance, and it was so difficult for me, but I really wanted to be good at it.
Right.
So I went every single week, I practiced every single day, and I continue to do that, 15 years down the line.
And what was this first dance class? Where did you take it?
It was in Chinatown. I don't remember the exact street.
Chinatown of all places.
Yes, it had a beautiful studio that was primarily dedicated to, partner dancing.
Okay.
But the owner of the studio would let us come in from 6 to 10 on Fridays and use that space.
So
to do
6 to 10
hip-hop.
in the evening.
Yes.
All right. So it was a hip hop dance class from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And is there any specific reason that you gravitated towards hip hop dance to start off?
I don't think so. I think I gravitated more towards the way they were teaching it and the welcome environment and the motivation than anything else.
Right. And the
Yeah.
fact that your friend, I guess maybe he made the choice for you because he did
Correct.
it first.
Correct.
If he would have gone, and taken, I don't know, ballroom dancing, do you think that you would have followed him there?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Huh. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And how about like just in your personal life, did you like, dancing in house parties or clubs or anything of that nature before taking this?
No, I actually was told in, I think it was 5th grade, that I was really stiff. I was like a robot.
Okay.
So I didn't touch dance until literally, I think it was my 2nd year in college.
Wow. And how old were you at that point, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 19 years old.
Wow. So I'm in a sense a little bit late to the game.
Yes, very late to the game.
Very cool. So when we come back, I want to dig in a little bit more into that and what happens next and what you were talking about, the sort of competitive spirit and sort of my comparisons to athletes and dancers. So I want to talk about that a little bit when we return. Cool. We have to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more about Ray when we return.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. You get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back to A Life in Art. We are here with hip-hop dancer and hip-hop historian, Ray F. Davis. So Ray, when we left off, we had talked about you sort of starting to take dance lessons at 19 and hip-hop dance in a studio, a nice studio in Chinatown, of all places. So talk to me about what happens a little bit after that. How soon do you fall in love with hip-hop and decide that you want to pursue it more full-time?
I fall in love with it pretty immediately.
Yeah?
For me, it was the first thing I was really passionate about and I was willing to be dedicated to. Everything else before that I kind of dabbled in. So once I realized I wanted to do this, I made sure I could pay the fees in order to take these classes. And then I started to think, I can probably be a fitness instructor.
Okay.
So at the time I actually watched Billy Blanks do his Taebo.
Yeah.
And I used that material to audition for different gyms. The reason I did that is because it would free me up some time to focus on dance more, as opposed to, having a 9 to 5 and then doing that. I wanted a schedule that was flexible enough so that I could, pursue dance.
Yeah,
more.
pursue your art.
Yeah.
So did you have any other survival jobs before that, like a 9 to 5 or something like that, or you just had the vision from the beginning that that wasn't for you?
I had the vision that it wasn't for me. At one point I did work in a fast food fish joint, and I also worked in a daycare as a janitor, but those things didn't work out.
Right.
I chose to do fitness instruction because I could teach 2-3 classes per day.
Right.
And, have as much money as I needed to in order to
take the classes
and also, feed myself and all that good stuff.
It's important to be fed.
Yes.
And to not smell like fish every day.
Correct.
So then what happens? How do you continue to take classes, and then what? Do you join some dance crews or groups, or how do you continue to evolve as a dancer?
Through Blade Dance Entertainment.
Okay.
They provided everything for us. Because it was such a big company, at the time when I got there, they had about 60 members.
Whoa.
And they had their school, and they also had their entertainment portion where they would do music videos and do stage performances and teach classes. So through them, they have like a ranking system where I started out as a dancer in training. Then shortly after that, I became a dancer. Shortly after that, I became a principal dancer in training, and so on and so forth, till I got to associate artistic director.
And that's where you are now?
Yes.
Okay. And specifically with hip hop, as far as, you mentioned when you were younger that you started playing the recorder, and then you played some sort of, brass instruments. Was hip hop, was there another genre of music that you loved before hip hop, or did you always gravitate towards hip hop music? What's your favorite genre of music? Is it hip hop?
Now that I am, I guess, more familiar with different types of music,
right?
I like different types of music for different reasons.
Sure.
I really wasn't into hip hop and R&B.
Right.
And I don't think I'm solely into that right now. What I gravitated towards because of my culture is, of course, reggae and dancehall. And along my hip hop journey, I learned how to do that better as well. So I would say I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to what type of music I like.
Okay, and then as far as the music that you dance to, have you started to sort of go into those genres as well and exploring dancing to that music, or do you feel that the training that you've had has, focused you on hip hop dance?
No, it hasn't focused me at all. As a matter of fact, my mentor always says that, movement is movement, and you could do any type of movement to any type of music.
I see.
So through that, we've done rock music, we've done R&B, we've done jazz music, we've done all of that, and done hip hop to it.
Right.
That being said, I also love to do salsa, so I love salsa music. I love to do swing, so I love jazz music. I love to do any type of movement that is introduced to me, because I'm just a huge fan of movement. I started with hip hop,
Right.
but because of hip hop, it broadened my horizon to, enjoy other forms of movement and other forms of music as well.
Yeah, when I was researching you for this show, I went on the internet and I saw a page for a Center for African and Diaspora Dance, and sort of in the introduction there to some of the classes that I guess you teach there or taught there, there was this, which I'll allow myself to pick up the sheet of paper and read real quick. Classes that explore anatomy and physiology, dance kinesiology, dance heuristics, choreography development, choreology, dance notation, dance history, attenuation, sociology, popping, locking, and boogaloo breaking.
Yes.
Now that sort of blew my mind, and I'm not even sure if I know how to pronounce some of those words.
Perfect.
So yeah, just talk to me a little bit about that. So you talked about sort of movement and you using movement all encompassing with different art forms, but like sociology and comparing popping and locking and boogaloo and breaking to just movement, and you talked about physical fitness. If you don't mind just elaborating a little bit on what that means and how you do it and how you explore that with your students.
Not at all. So I am inspired, and the people that I work with are inspired by just about everything. So pedestrian things created different movements in terms of dance. Like in Boogaloo, there's a movement called the old man, right? And someone actually watched an old man that appeared like he had, I guess, one leg shorter than the other, and they made it into a movement, a
And that's
very
where that comes
popular
from.
movement. Yes.
Wow.
So different, I guess, movement styles were inspired by things they saw. So that's how I kind of see movement. And through my teaching, I try to explain things in multiple ways so that the students that I'm teaching understand. Because we don't all visualize the same way. We don't all pick up movement the same way. So it's important to try to see where they're coming from and get them to get the movement the best way on that particular day.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah. That's really great. So let's actually take that opportunity to take our next break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more from Ray right after this break.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. Many of the future doctors who will care for us, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country, can be your kids. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Information on hot water heating.
No. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out the words.
World music, playing track now.
No.
Let me try. Our daughter gets confused about which details in a story are important.
Which paper towels are most absorbent?
What?
Here are 5 product reviews.
Why are you not getting me?
See, I told you.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Teachers today are finding new ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable.
And we're back on A Life in Art with Ray F. Davis. So Ray, again, thank you for, that explanation of, how you take movement from the street and how you explain it to, different people and how they take it in different ways. As we talk about that, can you explain to me a little bit of the difference in how hip hop music differs from, hip hop dancing and hip hop choreography?
Definitely. I think that hip hop movement, now that it's a staple, it lives without the music necessarily, because the music is always changing and the dance is always changing as well, which is why you see dancers nowadays dancing to dubstep, or some dancers still would like to dance to funk music, or some dancers would like to dance to techno. The movement is so rich that it lives beyond the actual genre of music. It started in a certain place, but all of that is considered, I guess, the street styles of dance.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned earlier that you've choreographed, with hip hop movements to jazz music to other, with your mentor you spoke of. So talk to me a little bit about how important it is to you, and if it's important in general to, as you do, know the history of, hip hop movement and things of that nature to your art. How does that help?
Oh, okay. Definitely for me, it is super important because that's what drives me to learn more and to find the connections between hip hop and jazz and salsa and tap, because they're all related in my opinion. When I first started to do this, that was the most interesting thing to me, and that's what has always driven me to learn new movements, because I want to know where it comes from and how it relates to this form of dance or that form of dance. But I understand that's not important for every single dancer. Mm-hmm. Every single dancer has their own reason, but I've always seen myself as a teacher more so than, the best dancer or the best performer or the best choreographer.
Got it.
And I think that's something that people can take with them wherever they go. The history of whatever movement, they're learning from me.
That makes a lot of sense. And now, speaking of dancing, specifically, and I think maybe with other art forms, I'm an actor myself, and, musicians, we can sort of go on for a long time with our art, and I tend to think, myself as an actor, as I grow older and mature and live more life, I get better with my art.
Yes.
With dancing, and very similar to athletes, I had alluded to this in our previous segment, like your body is so much a part of what you do. So what happens to a dancer as he evolves or she evolves and, gets into their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, mm-hmm. and their body doesn't necessarily respond in the same way? How does that affect, the art of dancing, and is that something that you've given thought to?
No, I have not given thought to it yet, because I make sure I take care of my body.
Right.
I make sure I feed my body the things it needs. So I don't really see that in my future.
Sure.
I just make sure I push it as much as I can in the now.
Right.
And I don't see why a dancer, if they're doing things the right way, cannot dance for a prolonged period of time. Some of my mentors are in their 50s and 60s right now, and they're still dancing.
Right, and haven't missed a step.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I remember seeing, like Gregory Hines, for example, that, way up into late in his career, he was, still doing it and blowing people away.
Right.
But there is sort of something in my mind, like I'm thinking right now, I'm a basketball fan, so like Kobe Bryant, for example, that this is his last season, he's retiring, and, he's smarter than everybody else on the basketball court, but his body just, can't do what it used to do, and he sort of compensates in other ways to still be great. Am I sort of off base in thinking that with dancing that sort of happens also, that you sort of move into being a choreographer and thinking about your body in different ways, or a person such as yourself that is into, physical fitness also, can you continue to just push your body hard if you take care of it?
Yes, you definitely can, but you are speaking some truth as well.
Okay.
If you want to, I don't know, dance for Janet Jackson, you're going to have to keep up with other dancers that are in their 20s.
Right.
So if you are 45, 50, that might not be a possibility because one, you don't look the way they do, and two, they have to go through rigorous, rehearsals of 4 to 8 hours a day. So you might not want to put your body through that. So in order to do group work like that, it might not be an option for you. But once you get to that age, you shouldn't have to do group work.
Right.
You've already proven yourself on that field. You should be doing choreography. You should still be teaching. You should be traveling the world. You should be doing things like that that can still sustain your legacy and also make people see that, okay, I can still do this and I can still do this well.
Right. And for you personally, Ray, what do you see in your immediate and long-term future? What do you want to continue to do?
That is a great question. I love what I do, and at this point in my career, I want to start to direct my energy and energies in a particular direction. I'm not sure what that direction is yet,
right,
but I feel it definitely has something to do with a fusion of all the styles that I love to do.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And I guess just my last question is something that we like to ask here. If you had it to do over again, would you still choose a life in art, or do you think you would go another path? And is there any advice that you would give to someone such as yourself that is, younger you thinking about going into the artistic path that you have chosen?
Okay. Without a doubt, I would choose this all over again. As a matter of fact, I think I would apply the discipline that I have for this towards some of the other things that I kind of brush past, but I would definitely choose this again. And the advice I have for anyone else that wants to pursue a dance career is you need to think outside the box, because there are at least 100,000 people, more than that, trying to do the exact same thing that you're doing. And you have to broaden your horizons in order to be successful at it and in order to be motivated at it. Because everyone cannot dance for Chris Brown.
Right.
But everyone can have a successful career dancing, as long as they want to.
That's great, man. Thank you. I really, really dug this conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for, sharing all of this knowledge and excusing my ignorance when it comes to, your field. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I think we've run out of time, as we usually do. Thanks to Ray for sharing his life and art with us. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. We want to encourage you to connect with us on social media. Be sure to visit us on Facebook and YouTube at A Life in Art, and Instagram and Twitter at A Life in Art TV. We'll be back with more stories from emerging artists when we return with A Life in Art.